acting as a sequel of sorts to the popular children's book. And the title character here, played by Zachary Levi. We know him and love him from so many things. Let's talk about Harold and the Purple Crayon. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my movie review for Harold and the Purple Crayon. This is in theaters right now. Before we launch into the specifics of this film, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got movie and TV reviews on the channel, and just about every day something new goes up. So there's always a lot to check out. Please consider subscribing, click that like button, comment below, and all that stuff, of course, helps out the channel. But you can also check out my Letterboxd profile. That is in the description below for this video. Letterboxd is a great website and app to log movies and rate them and make lists and stuff, so you can check out my personal Letterboxd profile below in the description. Okay, so Harold and the Purple Crayon. This is a book that has been around for a long time, really since my parents were little kids. The first printing was in 1955, but I must admit, although I knew the title, this was not one that I really remember reading. I sort of knew the basics of it. It's a pretty quick book, I think, but I don't remember reading it. But this is a very popular book over the many generations that it has served, and the book itself plays a part in universe here in this film. The book exists as an entity in this universe. So there's some heady things going on here, but the basic premise is that Harold, played by Zachary Levi, like I mentioned, is all grown up here, and he takes his magical purple crayon into the real world because he wants to look for who he calls the old man, who is essentially the narrator of the book. Harold hears the voice of this narrator, and so he brings with him. Actually, he doesn't necessarily bring with him, I should say. His friends, Moose and Porcupine, follow him in, and then eventually they all meet up with each other, but they are part of the real world as well, not as their animals, but as human counterparts. And Lil Rel Howery plays Moose, and then the Porcupine is played by Tanya Reynolds. Lil Rel Howery, of course, we know from so many things, but Tanya Reynolds, I just saw in Netflix's The Decameron. In fact, that was the last review I posted, so that's very recent. But she was also in Sex Education on Netflix, so you might know her from that. But the other people in the real world include Zooey Deschanel. Always great to see her, and sort of, in some aspects playing a little bit of the same character that she played in Elf, because, that was sort of taking something into the real world and her trying to kind of figure out what it's all about. And so, we see that here again. We have Jermaine Clement as well as Gary the librarian, who is, an oddball for sure, but towards the latter half of the film, we realize he is the villain as well. And then Benjamin Botany, who is a newcomer, he plays the son of Zooey Deschanel, who believes in Harold's powers and all of this. So look, this movie has a lot of comparisons to other things. So Zooey Deschanel, I mentioned that she's, sort of doing what she did a little bit in Elf here, taking this sort of, character and putting him into the real world and then figuring out where she fits in and whatnot. But Barbie is the clearest sort of comparison here. And this movie filmed right around the same time as the Barbie movie, so I can't say that this necessarily took ideas from the Barbie movie, but the story is very similar. You have somebody who is in their own universe, in this case the Harold book, going into the real world to find someone that he doesn't even quite know who he is. And Barbie, she was looking for the person who was playing with her. Here, he's looking for the narrator, the old man. You have these characters getting arrested like they did in Barbie. There are a lot of comparisons here. And again, they filmed at the same time, so I can't say that it was necessarily copying Barbie, but, coming out a year after that movie made such waves, it's hard not to see some of these comparisons. And even in Barbie, her as a character, the idea of Barbie and the creator of Barbie is talked about in that movie. And here, same goes. The book is a real entity. The author, Crockett Johnson, is a real person. So it's like the similarities were definitely not lost on me with that. But look, this movie's a bit of a mess. I will say I thought it was cute, and I think Zachary Levi is perfect for this role. He's not doing that different of a character that he did in Shazam either, which is, Shazam, he had to figure out his powers, and he was, basically a teenager that when he became Shazam has these powers, but he's still kind of got a teenager's mind. Here, Harold has, kind of the mind of a little kid because he doesn't know anything about the real world and stuff. So there's even similarities to that. But I do think Zachary Levi was a great choice for this role. He is definitely the heart and soul of this movie. I do have to say, though, the kid, what's his name again? Benjamin Batani. I thought he was great as Mel. We don't a lot of times in movies like this get really good child actors, and I think he was able to convey, some of the emotional resonance of the role. We learn a little bit about his family history, and he's got this, close relationship with his mom, but she's not very happy, and he wants to see her happy. And so there's, some emotional things that he's dealing with. I thought this actor actually portrayed that pretty well. And again, in movies like this, where things are so kind of zany and silly, we don't necessarily get a lot of solid kid actor, so I will hand it to him for that. And Jermaine Clement, he's definitely the more humorous aspect, I would say, of this movie. But as a whole, this movie is kind of all over the place, because there's a few different things going on. You have the whole real world thing and them not knowing what's going on. Then you have, him and Moose find each other pretty early, but Porcupine is kind of lost for like half of the movie before she finds them. So, you have that aspect of it, of her looking for them and getting into trouble of her own. I didn't really care about her character either. As an aside, it was sort of, when she was with them, great, but superfluous otherwise. I didn't really care about her antics or anything that was going on with her. They didn't write a lot of great dialogue for her, and the humor was sort of not there for me. But in any event, when the three of them are together, it's fine. But she was sort of a throwaway storyline for me. And then you have the stuff with Zooey Deschanel and her kid, and that whole kind of background there. And then you have Jermaine Clement. So a lot of pieces to this that I didn't think really came together all that well. And overall, I think this is a cute movie, but very, very messy in that respect. I don't think I laughed too often. I think the humor here is really for the younger set, which sort of makes sense. The book is for the younger set, certainly. But like I took my nephew, who is now 13, and I feared maybe it would be a little too babyish for him, and it really was. I don't think, I think he was kind of bored with it, to be completely honest, and I can see why. I think this is for real little kids, probably like 7 and 8 and under, maybe. They may find some of it cute or whatever. I, as an adult, kind of looking at it, okay, fine. I thought it was cute. And they definitely were creative with the things Harold was drawing with the crayon and that kind of thing. And there were some funny moments. But overall, this one just did not come together for me the way that I hoped it would, from, Zachary Levi being the main star here. I really like his work, and I think, again, he was a good choice to play Harold. I'm just not sure that the movie was quite serviced, as it could have been by his performance. So I will leave Harold on the Purple Crayon with a C, kind of right in the middle there. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll see you next time.